Sup? So I've had a heckin' of a day, let me tell you. And by heckin', I mean, like, I did a lot. I've been arts and craftsing about, like, 4 candles from Michael's and a whole bunch of clay and putty and whatnot in preparation for this project I'm working on, which you'll find out soon enough, within the month at the very least. What I've been working towards, with no guarantee that it's actually going to work, because I didn't do it in the traditional way. You see, the intention behind buying all the materials for this thing and doing what it is that I've been doing is to make a mold for my face so that I can kind of model stuff like a mask of sorts. Excuse me. For, I guess, cosplaying-esque purposes, so that I could very easily mold, like, these sheets of plastic onto it for armor purposes and whatnot, because you see this is 1/16 of an inch plastic, and it doesn't thermally mold very well unless it's at like 250 degrees, give or take. Found that out today, working with it, by putting it in the oven. Initially, I'd started off blow drying it, and then I shorted out my blow dryer. So I had to opt for plan B, which was to put it in the oven. Now, at 180 degrees, which is the very bare minimum, Fahrenheit, bare minimum that this can be flexible, doesn't really burn your face. So remember, this is all for a face mask, essentially. But as you go up 5, 10, 15, and etc. degrees, experimentation-wise, it does start to kind of hurt your face. And so, as a result, I quickly found out that I would not be successful in my endeavors if I did not find an alternative way for it to mold to something that resembled my face without burning myself. Because as much fun as it is to become Two-Face, I'd rather not. I'd just rather not, you know? So, I went out, I got a fuck ton of candle wax, and I have a few videos of the process, but I melted 4 candles in a pot in the oven, almost burned down my apartment, and then I poured them in a giant bowl, and I was like, I'll wait for this to harden so that I could stick my whole face in there. Quickly found out that that would take quite a while, and I'd probably be asleep for the point of malleability, I guess. So I started improvising, and that's where I made a hot mess in the kitchen. So there's candle wax everywhere currently, but there is a nice little pie dish of layered candle wax with an impression of my face in it, and like the first layer of clay from the face mold. After I finish molding the clay to the interior of the wax, I'm going to flip it over, remove the candle wax, and start working with the clay mold, which I'll have to bake in the oven for like 15 minutes, but that shouldn't be an issue once I have it. The problem is going full comedic pie in face with candle wax that's half melted. I don't know how well it's going to work. So hopefully it works, but if it doesn't, I'll have to come up with an alternative solution. And I have about half a month to do so. Completely. Like, I have an alternative for more pressing deadline for this project that I'm working on, but by like the end of January, I'm going to have like a solid alternative that works, that is feasible. So we'll see. Anyway, so that was my day, burning my face off. You can actually kind of see where I have some discoloration from the burns. Because believe it or not, burning your dermis does leave an impression to some degree. Okay, so I say we have Jonathan Peterson in the chat, Dr. Kiev, the Anonymous Rogue, and Assassins of the Grey in the chat. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. And James Colley, where is your kitty? He's currently hanging out, or she is currently hanging out with a boyfriendo over there in our bedroom while he's watching The Rookie, which is a show that El Boyfriendo has recently gotten me into. So I'm going to suddenly lose a great deal of time to that TV show, more than likely. Anyway, so the other thing that I was doing this weekend to get to the point of getting something malleable is I had to cut out a piece of this to shape, to form of what it is that I'm trying to work with. I quickly found out that I had gotten too thick of a piece. That might not look super thick, like it is. I think it's probably not quite, but 1/16 of an inch or so, I think. Maybe. I can double check. I guess roughly. I don't know. But, okay, 1/71 of an inch. It's too thick to easily cut without heating it up and or sawing at it, which was a great deal of fun. I broke a pair of scissors. Well, not broke, but these are duller than they used to be. Cutting this thing out. Utility knife didn't work very well. Let me tell you, it was a struggle. I had to literally cut this with a pair of scissors, just... And then don't even get me started on the actual design itself. That is just a square of a design that I'm working on. I had to actually cut it down to size for what it is that I needed to be working with. So I have like severe claw hand from what it is that I was doing yesterday. This entire weekend has been a struggle. I actually had to bust out my sewing kit for this project too. This isn't all of my sewing kit, but this is my portable sewing kit. So you can see I have some adhesive designs. So what essentially you can do with these is you can either sew them on or you can iron them onto the fabric that you want to iron it onto or sew it onto. And it'll basically just be this design on the fabric. Same thing with this and a whole bunch of other stuff. I had to seam rep a whole bunch of nonsense in preparation for this project. Super excited, though, for the result of it. I think a lot of people are going to be super excited about that. I'm very, very pleased with how it's turning out. Thank you, James Colley, for the donation. That's what she said. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for your donations and for all of your attentions and your time, frankly. Honestly, I don't deserve it because I have crippling self-doubt about my skills as anything. But more than that, you could be doing so much better with your time, yet you choose to spend it with me. And for that, I am thankful. So thank you. What was I going for? Oh, yeah. I go to the Streamlabs dash. I always forget what it's called, but it is what it is. So yes, that link is also in the description, as well as all the other stuff. Hopefully Polydub joins us soon. I don't have any reason why he wouldn't join us, except that it's just Poly and he's late, per usual. You know how it is. What else was I working on? Yes, I had to seam rip a whole bunch of stuff. I had to Gorilla Glue a whole bunch of stuff. And because for whatever reason, the super glue that I'm using, hello. It's this, not Gorilla Glue, but it's super glue. It doesn't hold well while it's wet. So I had to like twisty tie the thing that I was gluing in place until it was dry. And that takes time because I only have so many twisty ties. I have exactly 2 twisty ties and I needed to super glue it into several places at several aspects. So, but I can assure you, once this project is all said and done, you guys will be super happy with me. And no, it has nothing to do with the comic book movie mails video, which I am still working on. It is still a work in progress. Not to fear. It is in the works. It'll be out by next Monday at the latest or soonest. I haven't decided yet. I'm aiming for Monday as the upload date, or as the live date. The upload date will probably have to be Sunday. Hopefully, I'm aiming for that at least, so that patrons and other members can view it prior to that. But if it doesn't happen, that's not because I'm lazy. It's because I have discovered something that I wish to incorporate throughout the video to make it better. So rest assured, anything that takes longer than expected is usually because it's going to be better than anticipated. Which, you guys saw the first part, so you know you're in for a treat either way. If it's too standard with the last video, or if it's better, I mean, it can only get better with more time, honestly. Thank you to James Colley, who donated to the Streamlabs this time to say, "Don't let monkeys see you in wet hair. The stream will take a turn." Lol. This isn't wet. This is completely dry. It is a little bit oily, but that's because I did a different hair care routine last night than I usually do. So I just I kind of saturated it with micellar. Let me see if I'm pronouncing that well right. Micellar water, yes, micellar water, which is basically a cleansing agent usually used by women to de-make up their faces. But you can also use it to cleanse your hair of any product that might be latent in the strands. Because remember, we women, we like hairspray and mousse and whatever the fuck else we like to do with our hair. And as a result, it doesn't always wash out when we shampoo it. So you have to cleanse it every once in a while. So like once a month is usually a good bet. So it does look maybe a little bit like it was just washed, but that's because those are natural oils. So tomorrow we're doing a proper shampooing and conditioning. And then it should look more normal, hopefully. So what else? What else? Oh, Wednesday, we had a great time. I finally got around to watching The Hunt for Red October with Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin. It is one of Scribelight's favorite videos, movies actually. And I had no idea until I actually watched it, sat down to actually enjoy the experience, why it would be such a good movie. But it was a movie that we selected, that the Discord, which is linked in the description, the Discord community selected to be the Wednesday night movie night video, except we watched it on Thursday instead of Wednesday, which was because I wanted Wednesday to just kind of... It was the last day that I would get this week with El Boyfriendo before he left for his trip. So I wanted that. And plus, we didn't get the actual voting and or generation of the movie voting list until Wednesday. So it worked out in the end, I will say that. And it was a good movie. So props to Scribe for that suggestion. Thank you so much. And whoever else was there, thank you so much for joining me there as well. We had a great time. Talking about anal yeast infections. Oh, you guys should have been there. You missed a great conversation. Michael Trudell, new seat cover? Yes, actually. I have ordered some fur lining, actually. So I told you that this would not be the final product for the seat, that it was going to get covered with something else. And then I have to, at some point, sew this lining into this cover right here, so that it doesn't tend to fall down. But I told everyone last week, Sunday, that this was part of the project, the big project that I'm working on. And I actually discovered that it's probably... I'm probably going to have to rework my entire vision, because the way that the green screen pull down and my display here works, it's not completely ideal. I mean, it does the job, but it's not good enough because of my impossibly high standards, supplemented by the fact that, which is a supplementary to the fact that I am so short. My impossibly high standards have prevented me from being satisfied with the condition of the way that this background is going to look for the project. So, it's probably going to get used, but it's going to be alternated. I went on a little bit of a shopping spree with materials to up the production value. You guys are going to be super psyched with this because not only are we getting a new camera, but we are getting, I don't know what you would call them. For the monitors, they're like arms. They're they're like, I'm like 2.5 years in, mind you, but they're supposed to raise and lower and swivel the monitors because I have 2 of them. So these arms will allow me to be a little bit more flexible with the set right here, which is rather limited given the space and the fact that I'm sharing it with a boyfriendo when he does want to game in here, and the way that the lighting is set up, and honestly the way that the whole room is set up. You guys can't see it, but up here there is a section of wall that juts out that contains all of the piping and the electrical work for the rest of the complex, and it just zips right all the way over there. And because of that, I can't exactly drill upwards into that. I have to drill into this wall when it is that I'm attaching the green screen hook, and then I have to attach the green screen to this wall, and I had to kind of finesse it. You guys, if I showed you what it looked like, you'd be like, that does not look OSHA certified. Because I had to use those little bearings that you would use for key holders, key rings. The key rings, there we go. I had to use key rings to finesse the height of the green screen so that it was even with this one. Because this side is lower, it's mounted lower than this side is. And so, yes, it was an exercise in MacGyver-style construction notions. My dad, he visited actually this week, and he looked at the ceiling, and he's like, skeptical. But if it works, it works. Yeah. So, anyway, so the new chair is for the new project. It'll be a more permanent staple. I haven't decided if it's going to be implemented in the new project, though, because I did bankroll the fur, and I actually kind of like this. I used to have fur on my other chair, but this is a lot more fur. Like, it goes all the way down to my butt. Past that, I'm sitting on fur. I'm leaning back on fur. It's a good time. I don't know if it's real. I don't really care. If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. But I accidentally, when I ordered this, I only thought I was getting 1 of these. Turns out I'm getting 3 of these. So there's a smaller one, then there's 2 ones about this size that are sitting on the couches in the living room. And a boyfriendo does not seem to mind, so we're going to keep them. I did not skin my dog, James Cooley. I did not. It was not a thing that happened. I would never. Plus, this is too white for Daphne. What else? So yeah, I got little arms for the monitors. I got a new camera. I got a new mount for the camera, although I don't know if I'm going to need it with the monitor mounts. So we'll see if I have to take that back. I probably will end up. What else did I get? More costume material, but that'll come out when it's ready. Won't give any more spoilers about that. So on to the chat. Chat, how are we this fine evening? What are we drinking? I am drinking a Stella. I am 2.5 years in, and I am having a good time. Are we having a good time yet? And I will say this again. I did not skin anyone's dog, let alone my own. I would never skin Daphne. Daniel Fullman, what did you like about the Freaks movie? Okay, so Daniel Fullman, let me just preface this response to your question with an explanation of why it is you're asking me about this. So I posted on Twitter earlier this week about a movie that I watched that went live, I guess, in 2018 called Freaks. And the subsequent conversation that was had on Lords of the Night with Scribe was that he totally stole my thunder by kind of emphasizing another Freaked movie from, I think it was like the 1980s. I can't remember for the life of me, and I'm too drunk to recall it right now. But essentially, I was shilling this movie because I thought it was a fantastic movie. Cult classic. Or not cult classic, but it did not make enough money at the box office because it was not heavily and widely endorsed by big budget production companies. But it was a fantastic movie for what it was, which is basically, it takes all of your core superhero, X-Men-esque, superpowered person concepts, and it spins them in a creative way. So all the things that you like about, like, the X-Men franchise, the persecution aspect of that's in there. The forever in hiding aspect of all of your favorite We Are the Rebellion dystopian society movies, that's in there. The repercussions of growing up with that kind of an existence, that's in there. It looks into the intricacies of what it would be like to grow up with parents like that and that kind of an existence. It takes a very nice spin on that, and it just makes it its own. And it's a very well done concept. I enjoyed it. I think I don't need another movie spin-off for Freaks 2018, frankly. It's a good one-off, but if they were to do something else with it, I wouldn't mind. So long as they kept true to form. It was a fantastic movie, and I will say I'm not usually a fan of child actresses or actors on principle, because I don't like the idea of using children. Actually, frankly, I'm never a fan of it, even regarding this movie. I don't think it's a good idea to use children for entertainment purposes. I think it's amoral. I think it shouldn't be done, frankly. But if it's going to be done, this child actress did a fantastic job, and I hope all the best for her, because she was fantastic in the movie. I can admit where there's talent. I mean, just because I don't think that children should be paraded on the silver screen for people's entertainment doesn't mean that I don't think that they shouldn't be good at it. There is a divide between those two perspectives. You can think that a child has talent at the same time as you think that, hey, they shouldn't be taken advantage of for that talent. You catch my drift. So that's my stance on that. I don't mean to morally grandstand on that regard. Personally, it's not my favorite thing to do, but I do it so well, and I've made an entire alternative career out of it, so I guess whatever it is, it is. So that was the Freaks movie. I don't want to give too much away about it, because while it was good, if I start to go into the plot and what I liked about it, it kind of gives away everything that I liked about it. So I'm at a kind of catch-22. You'd have to watch it to really understand, but it's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix subscription, it's free to you to watch. It probably is available on other streaming platforms or alternative, perfectly legitimate websites for you to peruse at your leisure. And so I highly encourage you to go check it out. It's pretty good, and like I said, not being a big production movie production, it was really good. I liked it. Very simple, very effective, very well done. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Conspiracy, a cult, an Illuminati words. Conspiracy, virtue signaling weebs. I'm not above virtue signaling, but not so much in a way that. So, personally, if you actually stick to your guns regarding this aspect of this thing that you're virtue signaling about, in all cases, not just in the ones that you approve of versus disapproving of, then I don't have a problem with virtue signaling, right? So I think that all children should be banned from the entertainment industry, honestly. Straight up. Like, don't use your kids for clout, for any sort of financial gain, all right? You are the parent. You should be the one making the money, not the kid, not the other way around. So this is my example of where I have no alternative exceptions. There we go. Exceptions to a principle kind of make that principle, at least for that individual who has the exceptions, who holds the exceptions, makes that principle not a principle anymore, right? But this is a principle that I hold in regard for all cases. It's not just the God, what's a child actor's name? Macaulay Culkins of the world, who ended up high on meth for the greater part of their late teens, early 20s. It's a standard that I hold until the kid is mature. And of course that line is arbitrary, dependent on the country and the child itself. That's another thing, right? The idea of maturation for a person, we've standardized it, at least in the United States, at 18 years of age. That's when you are legally an adult. That's when you can go off to war, but it's not when you can drink alcohol. That's when you can hold a rifle, but not when you can rent a car. So we've standardized it, but not across the board. The other thing is also, kids weave above and beyond that, as well as below, and not quite there. That line of that demarcation of 18 years is when you are mature. And I get that. No system is flawless. No system of standardization is going to ever be flawless, because humans, by their very nature, are not standardized. They are completely unique in every aspect compared to everyone else. No two humans are alike. Even identical twins, for as genetically completely in line as they are completely physically, or for that matter, mentally, exactly the same. I mean, fun fact for you, in the womb, while children are growing and such, their fingerprints are actually produced not based on their genetics, rather based off of the way they develop in the womb. So even if a child is identical to their twin in every aspect, the one aspect that they won't be identical in, and you might have to check me on this because I am very intoxicated, but the one aspect that they won't definitely be 100% identical in is their prints. So like fingerprints, and I believe their footprints as well. Regarding the tongue print, that might also be the case, but that one I'm more iffy about. But I am almost certain about the fingerprint aspect. So even if you have identical twins, there's one aspect where they won't be completely identical. But take that and expand it to the rest of their life as an 18-year-old. You could get, or to the rest of their existence. You would have identical twins that are complete polar opposites of each other, but look exactly the same and are genetically exactly the same. It's a part of nurturing. So children, yes, we demarcate them as 18, of adults at 18. But you have variations within that age pool that make it exceedingly complicated to actually standardize. Yet we do. So I'm not saying it's a perfect system, but what I am saying is that's the system that we have. So let's use it, unless, of course, you want to come up with something alternative, then I'm all ears. But what I'm getting at here is I'm still salty about the flack I got for Kyle Rittenhouse is what I'm getting at. And now I'm getting the Egyptian dance out my door. Hello, my love. Is your beer in your
Absolutely.
pants?
Where else would it be?
I'm glad, because I didn't think your pee-pee was that big. How are you?
Very good.
Are you still watching The Rookie? They can't see you. No, I don't want it. Go watch your Stargate.
I will. No, I'm not watching The Rookie. I finished that episode.
What?
Oh, you're gonna be all nay tomorrow.
I'm working from home. I have to actually work. I can't just watch
No, you
TV.
don't.
Yes, I do.
Lying sack of shit.
I have to actually figure out complicated code, whereas you don't.
Right, I just have to make sure it comes alive. Anyways.
Love you.
Yeah, I bet you do. I was gonna watch season 3, episode 1, and then I thought maybe I should wait for you, but now I think I'm gonna go watch it.
Wait for me.
I did my waiting.
4 years of it.
It has come back.
I love you.
I love you too.
Later. Brad Young, so do you think a clone would have different prints? Yes, absolutely they would. Because, as I said, the developmental process is what produces not the developmental process, but the physical maneuverability of the fetus in utero is what produces the fingerprints. And obviously there's no certainty that a clone of a person would have the same fingerprints. So, let me double check. Identical twins, same fingerprints. No, studies have concluded that even though the fingerprints of identical twins may be very similar, they are not identical. Why though? Small differences in womb environment conspire to give each twin different but similar fingerprints. See, I did learn something in forensic science in high school, and I retained it. So yes, absolutely, a clone would have different fingerprints. So take that knowledge with you whenever it is that you watch a movie or a TV show or an anime or what have you regarding cloned individuals. Take that with you and know that the entire plot could easily, very, very easily fall apart if only they fingerprinted every single character in the entirety of the IP that it is you're working with. I've just ruined several sci-fi movies for everybody in the crowd. You're welcome. Where is the otter? That is a great question. I don't know. I have no answers for you. Unfortunately, I cannot help you there. I do not have an answer. Which is fine. We can have as much fun as we want, and I will go only 60 minutes because literally I have just me to carry the show, and as entertaining as I think I am, I don't know if you guys think that I am, but also I'm running out of alcohol. Oh, Boyfriendo is evil like the otter. So, backscan 3030. So if you make two clones, they would have the same prints, just not the prints of the person the DNA was from. No. So, it is my understanding that a clone would not have identical fingerprinting as the individual as well as the other clone. Because remember, identical twins do not have the same fingerprints, despite being in the same incubation environment. And there's not enough research for me to know with a definitive yes if two clones incubated in separate incubation environments would result in different fingerprint generation for each of them. But it is my sincerest and most educated guess that that would not result in identical fingerprints. Similar, yes. Identical, no. Brad Young, I don't like to pick movies apart at first. Takes the fun out of it, you buzzkill. It's me. It's me. That's literally what it is that I do. El Boyfriendo does not like watching TV and movies with me because I do that. I Well, not only do I talk during movies, but that is a thing that I do during movies and TV shows. I literally just got done watching The Rookie with him, and he got super salty with me about that. So. Daniel Fullman, if you were to get a gift, would you prefer one store-bought or homemade or something with the gift giver, like a trip or a concert? So I'm a really bad person to get gifts for because I usually just end up buying the thing for myself, or I can't think of it. Or I have literally everything that I could possibly want at this juncture right now, from what I can think of, except maybe like a bath mat. I need a bath mat. That's the only thing that I can think of that I absolutely need. But I'm a really bad person to get gifts for a number of factors. And so, honestly, I was told a boyfriend of this when he was asking me about Christmas gifts this year. I said, the greatest gift you can get me, the most I'll get the most use out of, is more free time. So what I mean by that is not just to spend time with him specifically, but just in general, take something off my plate, like clean the bathroom, do the dishes, take the trash out before I get a chance to, because I will absolutely do that before I relax. Whereas that's not everyone else's priority. I am a person who cannot physically relax unless they force themselves to, but I cannot still comfortably relax unless I know that I've done everything that I need to do. Everything's been put away. Everything's been accounted for. Everything's been done. So more free time, to give me the opportunity to have more free time on my hands, that would be chef's kiss. Alternatively, I do like spending free time with people, so I would rather not have a physical, malleable, material thing as opposed to an experience with a person. So I hope that answers the question. I would rather have an experience with a person. So like we go to a Renaissance fair or out to eat food or take your pick, fancy, as opposed to something that I'm not really going to need. So like, I don't know. My family is big on getting people just random odd trinkets and shenanigans. My dad's not this way, but the rest of the people, and my aunt is not this way either, but the rest of the people, they get kind of just bits and bobs and odds and ends and things that you can't really do much with. And I'd rather not have things that clutter up my house as opposed to experiences that can clutter up my brain. I'd rather have that. Because what is it that you can take into the next life with you? Honestly, truly. Not that I know what happens after death, but you can't take any of the material items with you. And odds are you're going to get rid of a good majority of everything that you accumulate in your entire lifetime. Let's be honest. Spring cleaning is a thing. People purge all the time. But memories, you don't lose those unless you actively forget them, or if they're not meaningful, or you start deteriorating mentally. But then even if you're deteriorating mentally, you still, if they're ingrained enough in you, you can look back on those fondly. They're still there. So. Velosaur the bearded. Quick, someone tip her. She needs booze. I can summon a boyfriendo. Babe! Baby? Can I make a request?
What in the fuck do you want?
Can I have more?
You're a child with a bottle.
I love you.
I bet you think you do.
I love you so much. You're a blessing to my life. Oh, hello, baby. Hi, come here. You want to hang out with the people? Camera board? She's not in heat anymore, so we have nothing to worry about. She will not moon you, hopefully. Did you just fart live for 19 whole people?
Yep.
I love you.
Take that.
Yeah. Thank you. I have more booze. Yeah, those are the beard. She doesn't have anything. She needs booze. I got it. I'm steadily collecting a thing of bottles here. What is this free time that you speak of? Honestly, okay, I haven't. Let me be clear. I have not quite been in the mindset of able to just veg for 24 hours straight since my dad's second divorce. I haven't. I just can't. I physically cannot. It is uncomfortable for me to just let something go by because it's always going to be in the back of my mind. Just going. Just pecking away at my brain. Like, Weebo. 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 Did you forget? Did you forget? Did you forget? That is my worst fear, is forgetting to do something that I've already committed to. Is like, oh, what did I forget to do? What did I forget to do? That's why I write lists. Incessantly write lists. This is why I calendarize everything. I not only have one calendar digitally, but I have a physical calendar in the kitchen as well. So I don't forget anything. So. Daniel Fulman, he even opened it for her, Keeper. Yes, we do. We stand El Boyfriendo in this household. He's ignoring me. We love him, though. And you know what? We have... I have a plan to do a collaboration video with El Boyfriendo in the near to soon future. I haven't quite figured out the intricacies of how we're going to do it, but we will end up doing it. And so I might need to collaborate with Farzuzmi on this, because I might need to commission some art to represent El Boyfriendo for these occasions, because let's be honest, they're probably going to be a regular occurrence, and I don't want y'all to actually see him, but not have anything to put a face to. So if I can get a nice little animated, cartoony version of El Boyfriendo, I'll be happy. And I think he will be too. Because I have one collab in the future planned out with him. That'll be extremely funny for everyone, except for me. Because it'll involve a lot of squirming of myself. But when we do it, I think it'll be rather enjoyable for everybody. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. But yeah, you guys will actually get to experience a boyfriendo in a more direct way than just third partying, I guess. I heard that.
I'm glad.
How much cheese did you eat in Detroit?
Like 2 whole pizzas.
That explains a lot. Oh no, I get to sleep next to you tonight.
Yes, you do. You should feel lucky.
You guys, I don't know if you can hear it, but every once in a while, just a toot 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 toot. That is my life. I love it. We make a good team. We have very similar senses of humor for the most part. Every once in a while, he goes too far, or I go too far. It depends on the subject material, honestly. El Boyfriendo will be the next VTuber. Y'all probably enjoy that. He's got quite the ass. Just a cartoon hand from off screen, says Daniel Fulman. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. So we're going to go for another 15 minutes. And in that 15 minutes, I have a thing for you. I have something that I would add. I didn't realize that was gonna happen. That I would boot myself from my own stream. No! Okay, only one more of these and then I'm done. Are you guys having fun yet? Production quality, am I right? Okay, so I have something that we could do. We can make fun of millennials for the next 13 minutes if you would like. I have an article that I collected, I think yesterday, called 8 Ways Millennials Accidentally Ruin Their Finances. Let's learn from the generation prior to myself how best to do the finances and shenanigans. Oh no. Oh no. My bad. I fucked up. I turned the magnifier on. I didn't want to do that. I don't know how to turn it off. Just done it. I don't know how to turn this off. So we're just going to read it. It's fun. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Production quality. Am I right? All right. With the next 14 minutes or 13 minutes and 30 seconds, we're going to read this article. So one thing that millennials do that accidentally ruins their finances is not invest enough, especially when you can get $5 to invest in Amazon, Apple, or other companies to get started. Can you? Really? It takes $5 to invest in Amazon or Apple? That does sound like... That sounds not quite. Even if you do invest, there's a chance you may not be investing enough. Consistent investing and making sure you're putting in enough can help ensure you're growing your wealth efficiently. This is true, actually. So not a lot of people are aware of this, but interest is basically like free money. So the more that you have invested, not just interest-wise, but like the more that you have invested over time, the more you make, depending on what you invest in. So I know that I have a majority of my funds invested in the market in moderately aggressive stocks because I'm young. The older you get, of course, you switch from aggressive to conservative funds because you're more likely to take out that money. But at this age, while retirement is still a far off notion for you, you want to invest a great deal of your assets because financially it'll benefit you in the long term because you are making more off of the, I don't think interest is the right word, but your percentage yield annually is going to be greater if you don't touch that money and if you just leave it in whatever funds you have. And if you keep adding to it too, your percentage yield on top of that, because you use money to make more money, will be greater if you invest enough of it and you don't touch it. So there's that. Number 2 is overpaying for car insurance can be one of your biggest monthly expenses, so it's important to make sure you're not overpaying, especially when comparing premiums. Only takes a few minutes. Any money you can save can be invested towards your financial goals. See, I agree with this. You do pay a lot for car insurance when you're my age, because you're my age, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. And so they're going to pay you, or they're going to expect you to pay out the ass for premium car insurance because you're an experienced driver and they can do that. They can get away with that. But you do want to shop around for the best rate per you. And if you can get away with paying less, definitely go ahead and do that because it'll save you a boatload in the end. Hopefully. Of course, I think it's after the age of like 26 that rate goes down. Not getting life insurance when you're young. If you're young and healthy, you might not be thinking about term life insurance yet, but you should be. Life insurance companies look at a number of factors, including your age, health, and weight, to determine the rate you'll pay for coverage. Generally, the younger and healthier you are, the lower the rate. Correct. So I have, before in my previous job and this current job right here, I do have life insurance. Hi, babe. life insurance, and it'll pay out, I think, half the amount that I'm supposed to make annually to my beneficiaries. And, well, I don't get to see that money because it's life insurance. I have to die first for it to get paid out. Beneficiaries will, and the more that they get, better it is. But I pay less for it when I'm younger. The more you know. Number 4, using a debit card when you could be earning up to 20% cash back. This is actually something that my dad disagrees with me about, I think. I'm not quite sure on his position, but I do know that his stance is don't enter into debt unless you have to, absolutely. Which I presume means credit cards as well. But to be honest, so long as you're not in danger of having that debt carry over into the month after you incurred it, if you can put it off, sure, for like a couple days, but pay it off at the end of every month, then you're not missing out on any money, because most credit cards that you have some sort of reward system for paying it off or for using it initially, and then paying it off obviously doesn't hurt your credit. So get that cash back so that you're not losing money, essentially. Of course, with other credit cards, you can also get points towards like travel or other stuff. Wow, I'm totally blanking on it. But you can't get rewards based off of what it is that you're spending on. I think I get 2% cash back on, I think it's 2%, no, 1% on everything, 2% on, is it groceries, 3% on restaurant expenses, and 4% on gas. So I get a good amount of percentage back based off of what I spend my money on or where I spend my money on. Number 5 is forgetting to negotiate. Yes, even the cable bill is negotiable. I didn't know this. Even if you're disciplined about savings, you probably had months where you looked at your bank balance and wondered where your paycheck went. A budgeting app like Truebill can help you take control of your money. Spend it intentionally on things you value and stop throwing money away on important things. Okay, I understand budgeting, but what does this have to do with negotiating? Hang on, let's keep reading. Once you have a complete picture of your finances, it's easy to see ways to save, and Truebill can help you make those potential savings a reality. Their expert negotiators can call the cable company and phone company to help lower your bills. This seems like a service that they're trying to sell me. Because couldn't I just call the cable and phone bills to lower my own bills myself? Assuming I know all of the little tricks and tidbits that they would know. But you can always Google that, right? So why would I pay Truebill the difference to negotiate my bills down? Maybe because it would be an indefinite service. I don't know. I'm a little bit skeptical about that. That makes me sketch. Weebo, you're a millennial. You don't call people on the phone. Actually, I'm one of the few. I'm actually Gen Zer. But secondly, I'm actually not that bad on the phone with people. I have this nice little voice of, hello? Yes, this is she. Who am I speaking with? Oh, hello. I'd like to book, no, stuff like that. I have a really good knack for speaking on the phone because I've been doing it since I was 14 and making my own appointments and doing my own shit. So I'm used to it. I'm one of the few of my generation, the previous generation, that can actually comfortably have those conversations and not have it be a point of anxiety. But I honestly, I thought that the number 5 item about negotiating would be like your car payment, because you can negotiate your car payment down. Like the rate that they're selling the car for is flexible. If you get a car and you want to finance it, the financing, the APR, that's flexible. The actual physical cost, the down payment, all of that is flexible, so long as they're selling it above cost, you're good. And of course, they mark it up, so you have room to negotiate. I thought that was what they were going for, but no, they went for selling a service, which is fine. I don't mind. But number 6 is not having a healthy emergency fund. Unexpected expenses are a part of life. Unfortunately, according to the Federal Reserve, 39% of Americans would struggle to cover an unexpected expense of $400. If you want to increase your chances that you're able to cover an unexpected expense without the need to turn to debt, an emergency fund can help. Agreed 100%. I know it's not easy, and it's sort of, I guess it has an elitist tone to it to say, hey, make sure you have, 6 months, 9 months salary saved up just in case on the off chance, or no, 9 months worth of living expenses saved up in case some shit hits the fan. 9 months is a little bit asking too much, but I think it's the standard is 3 months. Of course, you want to always overestimate that, especially in current climates. You want to overestimate that, but bare bones, 3 months is expenses of what it is that you can afford to, or that you cannot afford to live without, is decent. But you also want to have that emergency fund of okay, say you blow out a tire and you need a new one. That costs money depending on the tire. I mean, I know labor cost is what, 150 on top of a new tire itself is probably anywhere from $60 to $200 depending on the car and the tire. You do want to have that saved up in case you have to incur that cost, because you don't want to go into debt. You don't want your credit to get hurt based off of just some random haphazard accident that happened that you couldn't have foreseen. So yeah, you do want to have that saved up, and that should be presently where it is that you're prioritizing some of your funds. So yeah, sure, maybe Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out. Hold off on that, because you know for a fact that it's going to come out buggy as all hell. Don't pay full price for that. Wait for it to improve and drop price, and instead spend that money on putting it into your savings. And then perhaps maybe at a later date, when the price point has dropped, when the game has improved, you invest in that experience. That's my 2 cents as Weebo. All right, we have 2 more minutes, and we have a few more to go through. I thought they only said 8. Anyway, not taking simple steps to improve your credit. Your credit score affects where you can get approved for a loan, credit card, or even a new job. Usually it only takes weeks or months to improve your credit score, but there's an innovative new service that could help you raise your FICO score instantly. Okay, so I'm not going to try to sell you a service, but ideally you want to pay off your credit card before the day that it's due. You want to not let anything go to collections. And ideally you don't want to enter ideally, of course, this is not feasible for most cases, but you don't want to enter into any financing options outright unless you can pay for it outright. Like this computer. Could have financed it. Could have financed all the parts. Paid $15 a month for 3 months to get it paid off for certain parts? Sure, whatever. I didn't do that. I saved up and I waited to purchase the whole thing as is. And it worked out. So don't needlessly enter into financing when you can just save for the thing. Wow, it's already 8. I'll give you guys 2 more minutes. Number 8 is get spotted up. Am I having difficulty reading? I guess I am. 8 is get spotted up to $100 if your account balance runs low. If you're one of the 78 Americans who live paycheck to paycheck, it's 78% of Americans? Holy fuck. Even when I was a college student, okay, to be fair, I had my dad, but even when I had my other shitty tech support job where half my paycheck went into joint and half my paycheck went into not joint, when I was living $1,000 per paycheck, I had some amount of cushion. Of course, I worked to finesse that. That's part of the reason why I didn't have a lot of free time to make videos for that couple of months, is because I was working to make that a possibility so I could have savings. But yeah, Jesus, 78% live paycheck to paycheck. Fuck. Anyway, wouldn't it be nice to have a little extra financial cushion, especially at the end of the month when rent is due? Actually, it's due at the first of the month, but whatever. Yeah, okay. So my whole thing is, if you want to avoid this, I don't know how this will work for everyone, but I know that it works for me, or it worked for me when I was in this situation. When you get your paycheck, pull immediately, without a second glance, without a second thought, immediately pull out like $200, $100, whatever you can spare to put into savings so that you have that. So you can start building that emergency fund so you can have that little cushion in case. Because if it's not immediately accessible to you via your debit card or credit card or whatever, then you will have cause to think twice about it before you spend it. And that little pause can prevent that impulse. Oh, maybe I do want to buy 3 pizzas instead of 2, or whatever. Whatever it is that is hurting your savings or your ability to not live paycheck to paycheck. I'm not talking to those people that are living like needily paycheck to paycheck. I'm talking about those people that are living needlessly from paycheck to paycheck. Like that person that spends $90 on pot a month. I don't know if that's a high or low estimation, but that person that spends a fuck ton of money on frivolous things when they know they can't afford it because they are living paycheck to paycheck. So those people, those are the ones I'm talking about. You want to encourage habits that preemptively mitigate that risk, if that makes any sense. Right, so let's go on to 9 because we have a few more minutes here. But 9 is not saving an average of 83 squared per month by refinancing your car loan. Excuse me. You pay a lot of bills, but what's one that never gets lower? Your car payment. And chances are you're paying too much every month, especially if you're stuck with an old loan and bad rates. If your credit score has gone up recently, interest rates have dropped, or you just want to pay less, Rate Genius can help you slash your monthly car payment by refinancing your auto loan. So you can refinance? I did not realize that. Interesting. Okay. The more you know. See, this is why we're going through this, because I want to learn new things. Notice how this was supposed to be a list of 8 ways millennials accidentally fuck up their finances, but it is 10 plus a bonus. So let's do 10 in the bonus and then we'll sign off. Number 10 is don't overpay when you shop online. Shopping online has its perks. It's super convenient, but it can be time-consuming to find the best deals. Instead of hunting for coupon codes that don't always work and opening tons of browser tabs comparing prices, you can try Capital One Shopping. I feel like this is just another one to sell you a service, but yes, compare rates, compare things that you're buying online because you have the ease of access to do so. Do it. Absolutely. 100%. Ooh, I did not mean to switch tabs like that. Oh, hey, look, it's Polly. Hi, Polly.
Hello.
How long have you been there?
Hours.
Ha ha, no, you haven't. I know that you haven't. I was actually about to wrap this up, but we can go for another half an hour. I'm like 4 beers in, man.
Before beer zone?
I'm 4 beers in.
Oh.
Yep. We're talking about how millennials fuck up their finances.
Don't overpay when you shop online. Yeah, get smarter money in about 5 minutes. Okay, scroll back. I want to see.
Yeah, actually, I do want to see, because you're an actual millennial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I want your 2 cents because I'm actually a Gen Zer, and everyone always gets that wrong. It's like, oh, Weebo, you're a millennial. No, I'm not. I was born in Generation Z, bitches. I'm about 3 years too late to be a millennial. 3 years? Right. 1998 minus 3. 1995. Yeah, because that's the cutoff is 1995.
Yeah, wait, they'll shift those years again. Millennials are like, 40 years worth of births, apparently. It's
Apparently.
not investing enough, especially when you can get $5 to invest in Amazon, Apple, or other companies to get started. Yeah, whatever.
Overpaying for car insurance.
Yeah, but you're an idiot and you're just not shopping around. Not getting life insurance when you're young. Why?
This doesn't
What's that got to
actually
do with it?
affect your finances, though, specifically, because you're not actually reaping any benefits from life insurance. Because life insurance doesn't pay out until you die, and then it pays out to your beneficiaries.
Yeah, so I guess they're talking about
Long term.
as if millennials are getting married or something, and they need to be worried about stuff like that. And what is this? Getting life insurance to make sure your creditors have their money covered when you start drowning in debt.
I don't know. I have
Debit
life
card,
insurance.
20% cash back. What's up with that?
Yeah. Well, you don't
cash
have
back credit cards.
no. Yeah, like 20% or like even 4%, 3%, 2%, 1% kind of credit card deals that you get. That, like, why would you buy it outright when you could buy it with the credit card, get that cash back, and then pay it off for literally nothing extra, assuming you pay it off in a timely rate.
Yeah, there's the big if. But yeah,
it's free money, assuming you're responsible enough to do that. Forgetting to negotiate. I thought this was going to be something regarding like financing your car or something, or buying a car, or like your mortgage or whatever. But actually, this is just them selling you a service called Truebill. But yeah, negotiation. Apparently, you can do it in a lot more facets of life than I thought previously.
Yeah, you can negotiate for a lot of stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't realize that you could do it for like your phone bill. Maybe.
I was able to argue certain things off of my phone bill, but really that was a matter of shopping and figuring out what the best deal was. And the answer was buy my phone outright.
Well, yeah, duh. I would. That was another thing too. That we'll get to. But financing, when you could just pay for the thing outright, like you don't have to get the new iPhone immediately when it comes out. You can wait a bit to save up for the funds to have the thing, so you don't have to finance it and take that hit on your credit score.
Yep.
Because that, believe it or not, even if you pay it off, it does hit your credit score just the slightest amount. Or not the slightest, but yeah.
What? If you pay it off?
No. If you pay it off, your credit score goes up. But that's over a period of time. Initially, when you finance the damn thing,
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Your score takes a hit. And it takes a hit for as long as it's not paid off. So as long as you incur debt, and as long as you have debt in your name, your score will reflect that. When you get out of that debt, obviously, it goes up to a higher rate than it was previously. But that's not until you pay it off. Does that make sense?
It does.
The things you learn when you're an adult. Not having a healthy emergency fund.
Save money. It's a short trip.
Honestly. And the tip that I always give is to, like, immediately upon receiving any sort of paycheck, any sort of income, so like even from YouTube, take a percentage out of that and put it in a savings so that you have that extra step. If you happen to run out of money and you need to pull cash, you have that extra step between the initial, yes, I'm going to charge this to my card or my account, and I need to actually pull it from savings first, and then I have to pay for the damn thing. So it gives you like a second thought option instead of opting for that impulse buy.
Not taking simple steps to improve your credit, such as?
So, like, paying off stuff after every month. Like, when you incur credit bills.
Yeah.
So when you pay for something with credit instead of just with your debit card, you still have to pay that off. If you don't pay it off every month, you're going to take a hit.
Yeah.
Get spotted up to 100 if your account balance runs low. This was also, I think, one of their, a word from our sponsors points. because literally it only has to do with acquiring a Chime account and having them spot you $100 with a little asterisk. You see there? An asterisk on your debit card purchases.
Yeah. So this is all just I love an ad guised as advice. That's great.
I mean, not all of it is horrible advice, but yeah, it is disguised. Like, I'm pretty sure every single one of these has a download blank now. Yeah, it does. It does. Every single one of these advice things has a link attached to it. But I'm glad we're going through this together so that we can give people, like, the heads up. Oh, that's the wrong bottle. And don't overpay when you shop online. Polly, do you shop around for prices for objects?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? Okay, good. So do I. Do you also have Honey installed on your desktop?
I don't have Honey, but I've heard good things, but I'm not a crazy online shopper, so mostly because I just don't have the money to be doing so.
Every once in a while I'll buy a thing and I'll see if I have coupons that I can save money on it. It's like one of those extra steps, but it's automatic, so I don't have to worry about it.
Has
But
Honey
it's
worked
nice.
for you?
It has in the past a few times. Apparently they have a point system that I'm not a part of, but it does what it needs to, which is just it finds promo codes for things and it just imports them directly without you having to go, all right, let's see, find DoorDash promo code, which I have had to do in the past prior to using Honey. I like it. It's not infallible, but it is nice to have. All right, bonus. We get a bonus, Polly. Are you excited?
I'm just shuddering in anticipation.
Bonus. Get smarter about money in just 5 minutes a day. Wealthy is all about numbers. Worthy is a mindset. If you're the type of person who's passionate about growing your net worth and becoming financially independent, then you belong in Worthy, our brand new professional finance community. Woo! Okay, I will say this. I come from a family of people who are very financially conscious. And that's not necessarily how do I phrase this? It's not necessarily a ringing endorsement of their ideas. Oh, hello, hair. That looks atrocious. So what I mean by that is they give you advice based off of advice that they've garnered from other aspects of financially benefited people. So, like, my cousin's a big fan of I don't think it's Elon Musk, but it's another financially conscious person who has done really well with their investments and their monies. And he's like, oh, I think maybe it was Warren Buffett. He's like, Warren Buffett did X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, good for Warren Buffett. What works for person A doesn't always work for person B or C or D or E or F or whatever.
Uh-huh.
The reason why is because we're all different people. So I think he said something about this man. When he turned like 22, he took half of all of his income and immediately put it into savings. And that's how he was able to retire at 40. And I'm like, good for that guy. But that doesn't always work for everybody else. Plus, he doesn't say anything about whether or not he invested in anything, what he invested in, how he invested, like was it aggressive stocks versus conservative funds, or what person did he use? Did he personally scour the market looking for the best possible options for his stocks, or did he let someone else do it? Did he invest in financial? Like, all of these questions are relevant. You can't just say, take half your income, put it in savings, you're good. You can retire at age 40, not a problem. That's not going to always work for somebody. And that's not always going to be the best outcome. So when I say that they're financially conscious, they are. But you can't just take one person's piece of advice and run with it in every aspect. It's got to be flexible advice.
Of all potatoes says he's been saving about 90% of his money since he was 14. Well, good for you. That puts you steps ahead. Next 6 minutes. How's it going?
The next 6 minutes donated to my Streamlabs. I don't know if he did to yours, but I would check. He said, yay, Weebo lives. Oh. Here,
Go
you go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
No,
you go
you-
ahead, drunkard.
Drunkard.
That wasn't a drunk face at all.
Thank you, Next 6 Months, for the donation. Yay! Weebo lives. High fives on surviving the WAG station. When I saw a giant bowl of wax, I was worried my buddy Weebs would be turned into a candle. I wonder what a Weebo scented candle would smell like. Sprite, bubblegum, pancakes, and garden salad? Why pancakes and garden salad? What? I'll get into that in a hot second. But, Polly, read your super chat. Or your Streamlabs.
I'm not drunk. You're drunk.
Really
Thank
you.
you. The next 6 months for the donation. When winter fills the air, do not despair. For otters, make it hotter. And with their smoldering hot commentary on comics, spirits, and other odd screw tape. And the odd screw tape. Look to Polydub and his channel for great streams, Epic Chi, and General Chill Mojo. Twitter DMs for the win, my dude. Twitter DMs. Okay, yeah, I haven't actually even looked at Twitter today, but I will certainly do so. Thank you, Six, for the donation and all the things you said, including the stuff about the Chi and General Chill vibe, or over on my channel, are all true. Gil Cotto asked a question. I sent Weebo a joke that apparently only programmers would get. Gil Cotto told me.
No, I completely just zipped over my head. But to be fair, I was just waking up, so.
Yeah, well, he Gil Cotto posted it last night in Discord, and I read it, and I was like, no, I don't get it. And then Gil Cotto explained it, and I was like, oh, wow, that's some really inside baseball. He goes, no, programmers would get it. And I said, okay, hold on, we're going to test Weebo because she's employed as a professional programmer now. We're going to see what's
software engineer. But I'm
software engineer.
Okay, to be fair, my actual job tighter. I love it. Is associate software.
Weebo's getting tighter.
My actual title is, I think, associate engineer of embedded software, which is just a software engineer. But specifically, this has to do with like your web GUIs and such.
Gil Cotto said he said a do without an exit condition. Now I used close words to that. What did I say?
Oh,
I said
a do while without an exit condition. Okay, all right. Here, you know what? Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up because it's not immediately.
I used words close to that. I
No.
said it's a command without exit criteria. I
No.
couldn't remember
No. You said, I guess it's because it provides instructions but no exit criteria, so the person just purchases milk and stays. A do while.
That's pretty close.
The phrasing was off.
Well, you know what? That's pretty fucking good considering he had said it hours previous, and I got your kid. Instead of condition, I said criteria. Excuse me.
Here it is. The reason your dad didn't come back from buying milk is because he went to buy hot dogs, but your mom said, while you're there, pick up milk. Oh, now I fucking get it. Oh, now that you said it as a do while, now I get it. I get it so much more than when Polly explained it to me.
See how she's laying the responsibility at my doorstep, even though she's the assistant to the assistant engineer of software or whatever.
Hang on. Hold up. Pause. Yes?
Oh my Jesus.
You want you go get your Cheez-Its. You can get your Cheez-Its. They can't see you. Please don't shoot me. I love you. You love my life.
You shouldn't have to bargain for your continued good health. Jesus.
Shot me using the ceiling. You bastard. Yeah, see, I can't see you. Ow! Stop it. He bought a new Nerf gun, and he has been shooting me with it and not with it for forever. Okay, so, Polly, are you ready for Coding 101?
You went all warpy? What?
Are you ready for Coding 101?
No.
All right. Well, you're about to be. Here, let me put this over here. So a do while condition is basically do this thing while this is the case. So what it looks like is while condition is not met, I think it's like do this thing. Actually, no, that's a while loop, I think. What does a do while look like? It's been a while since I made a while loop. Do while. I'm very drunk. So heads up. I have to look it up. Oh, fuck it. Okay, hang on. I have it backwards. So do statement while condition. And usually there's something within the do loop that brings you closer to the condition. So for instance, while, I don't know, say you have 0. Oh, wow. While you have an integer that's equal to 0, so like a variable that's equal to 0. So I is equal to 0. I. You're going to do whatever it is that's in this code. And then you're going to implement something that increments the variable I a certain amount. And then you're going to go while I is less than 10, execute everything that's in this body of text.
And this is why Weebo pulls in the big numbers.
Because I understand logic. That's why. It's basically okay. So a do loop or a do loop, a while loop is basically the exact same thing. It's just backwards. So while I is less than or equal to 10, do thing. Literally the exact same thing. Personally, I'm not 100%. Oh, go away. I'm not 100% sure why we need to have this backwards shenanigans. I never asked, and I probably will never have cause to, unless someone in the chat would like to educate me on why it is that we have both a do while and a while loop. Oh.
Well, Gilcado could explain it, but I think you're kind of out of his pay bracket. Just saying.
Gilcado, can you explain it to me, please?
It's okay. Gilcado's out of my pay bracket too.
But yeah, so that does explain this. The reason your dad didn't come back from buying milk is because he went to buy hot dogs, but your mom said, while you're there, pick up milk. There's no exit condition, so there's nothing that would achieve the...
Just you said you understand logic. Let me ask you this, and I'm not a programmer, but in terms of you're starting to play in my backyard with the logics. There's no exit condition laid upon the initial statement either, is there? It didn't say buy hot dogs then come home. It simply said buy hot dogs. And it says, while you're there. So wouldn't he have been stuck there eternally buying hot dogs as well? Isn't there an implied assumption that there was an exit condition to begin with?
While you're there. So, okay. So the way that this would look, right? It could be a do while. It could also be a while. So this would be a Boolean condition, right? So Boolean.
Boolean operators.
Yeah, equals true. Or actually, no. Yes. Because the the condition is there isn't your while you're there, pick up milk. So while at store is equal to while at store is equal to true. I think it would be int milk equals 0. So
I'm reminded as to why all of my first, second, and third order logic classes were all full of fucking computer science people.
So Boolean. Okay, so the object here is to achieve this condition. At store has to equal false. Yeah.
No, seriously, where's the original exit condition? No one said this yet.
Exactly. So there's no exit condition. So in order to achieve this, you would have to say at store equals false. You would have to change this Boolean operator to be equal to, oh, I spelled store incorrectly. You would have to change this Boolean operator to equal false so that this while condition this while loop does not continue to execute. So without this, Dad would just be at the store picking up milk after milk after milk and after milk indefinitely.
Okay, well that's and this is what Gil Cotto says. He would be picking up infinite amounts of milk. But I reiterate the same question. Considering the original statement, regardless of the milk or disregarding the milk, would he not simply be picking up infinite amount of hot dogs?
And yeah, well, he would do that too. So we can add a condition for int hot dogs.
But think about it. The original command given to Wayward Father would be at the store, pick up hot dogs. Okay. Yeah. So he goes to the store and picks up hot dogs, but there's no condition for him to leave.
Yeah, that too. But I think that's why it confused me, because there is both a condition for hot dogs and for milk, and you're picking up both, but there is no exit condition for.
Okay, well, Gilcotto says the hot dog purchase is in a separate run. Okay, fair enough. I see that. But upon what condition after purchasing the hot dogs does he leave? He doesn't say that there. There's an underlying assumption that was there. But
while you're there, pick up milk. So while you're there, as in while you are at the store, pick up milk.
Assuming he was ever told to leave the store upon purchasing the hot dogs.
So there is an alternative condition. So this is all happening within two separate methods. So there is, I think, let's go public void pick up milk.
Okay, so wait a minute. Gilcotto says the original command was run by buying hot dogs. That would be that go there, buy the hot dogs, and leave. So you're trying to tell me the functional differences here. The functional difference here is the while do. The while do inside of your programmer's world requires that there be a exit command where there isn't one in the original. That while do changes everything.
Here. Let me lay it out for you in the way that it would be in code. So pick up hot dogs. So the method being run here, right? The primary directive is to pick up hot dogs. And that's just going to add hot dogs. You would have this carryover. Oh my God. I can't fucking spell. Holy shit. You would have this variable right here that gets put into this right here. This pickup hot dogs function. On top of that, this function for pickup hot dogs also calls pickup milk. And so pickup hot dogs' function cannot be finished. Its primary directive for picking up hot dog cannot be finished while it's calling this pickup milk function, while pickup milk is not entering this false state.
Got it.
So that's why you wouldn't be able to leave the store. It's because this function is calling upon this function, which will not stop executing until this state is met. And that is computer science.
Oh, yeah?
Welcome your old false staff who says, I've never seen your streams, but here tonight. I hope you're enjoying this exercise in logic. So, you're familiar with logic, so you would probably understand this. But essentially, the initial, the initial directive given by wife is to pick up the hot dogs. While you are at the store picking up hot dogs, she asks you to also pick up milk and not come home until you have picked up the milk. So she gives you a secondary function, a secondary directive. Within that directive, the code is specifically stating that you are at the store and you will remain at the store until another state has changed. So until there is a specific Boolean factor addressed, meaning you are no longer at the store, you cannot come home. So that's why Dad never came home. And this has been Basic Logic and Programming with Polydub and Weebo Jones. I didn't anticipate this to happen tonight, but I'm glad that it did, because interpreting real world statements into actual code is kind of fun, especially when you're drunk.
And next week, I'll show you how to do derivations with negations only.
I think, personally, Polly, I think that you would rather enjoy computer science if you had studied it, because you're a big fan of these logic function.
Oh, I was never a fan. I was just made to study it.
Oh, you were made to study it. Never mind, then you wouldn't like it.
It was matriculation. I was happy with intro to logic. I was happy with formal logic.
Yeah.
When I looked at like the course matriculation and realized that modal logic was on there, and then logic 2 and logic 3, and when we were like way in the weeds of logician hell, I started to get resentful.
Because then you wouldn't be a computer scientist, and you go in a different direction.
Well, I don't know. A lot of it becomes straightforward. It's like, well, don't you just like following the rules and stuff like that? And it's like, yeah, but this is like really definitely left natural logic behind, or excuse me, natural language behind for the sake of formal logic. And it's I understand the appeal. I understand the appeal in terms of the consistency of it, but if you're not using it for actual argumentation, you're using it for the thing itself. I imagine that's what master's students and doctoral students in pure mathematics are like. Never been over to that department. It scares me, because it's just you guys are just doing pure math at a very far gone level, and there's zero application to it.
What are you talking about? There's application to it. Your entire operating system is derived of logical systems of Boolean true and false statements, whether or not a condition has been met based off of integer allocations, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, everything that you do as a human being is affected by the logic systems that, mathematicians.
No. I'm not saying that it isn't. But you're okay. How can I say this? You're talking about fairly low level logic, and that's not to say low level like. I'm just saying like those are like Boolean operators and how they work and understanding.
I understand basic logic at its
and it absolutely is. But that's all application. Like when you get into far gone theoretical logic or math, or hey man, a lot of the poli-sci theory that I end up using is very, very useful. I keep using one of my former professors, and is the off-the-shelf theories, meaning theories that have been well developed and they're up there and they're on the shelf, and you can use them to apply to a given situation. I don't use IR theory so much. I use institutional theory. I love the off-the-shelf stuff, because then it becomes a tool of analysis. You would have to listen to a number of professors in their old musty offices with their tenure, who don't really care to be teaching classes anymore, can get away with doing that, pontificating about the hyper minor variance between one theory and another theory and another theory. I remember saying to one professor that actually she was an associate professor, but whatever, in a class, that this type of institutionalism just seems like proliferating subcategories of theory. She goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, everything that's happening inside of this dialectic institutionalism is already covered within sociological institutionalism. It's just being called something else so somebody can brand their name upon it and publish papers. Like literally everything that you just described inside of dialectical institutionalism is covered inside of sociological institutionalism. It doesn't differ like the way that rational choice theory does. Mm-hmm. It's just, you understand, it's getting further and further out into the theoretical weeds. And for what purpose? You're not going to apply this to any actual institution and say, well, now we can come up with a descriptive and a predictive model to understand blah, 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 and then thus generate recommendations accordingly. That's not going to happen. So it's the the deeper that it, to bring it back, the deeper that it got into logic, like where it was just leaving any kind of practical application behind. And it was just, well, we have a negation, and they got positively metaphysical with the negation in terms of the and or, that it could mean either, and not this or not that, for the assertion, negation, not. And they're just like, but does it necessarily imply that? Or is it merely sufficient that it does? And I'm like, if you want to construct an argument where you make it necessary, then just write it as being necessary. Specify. And it's like, yeah, but what does it mean? And I'm like, you guys are getting almost poetic with your metaphysical understandings of negation. Stop. So anyway.
Well, so now you know why no algorithm on the face of this planet here or wherever else that we can think of possibly will ever be sufficient enough to actually predict or fully explain the human experience. Just because so logic. The logic of computers is entirely simple, and that is the same logic that goes into all of your basic algorithms when you are doing anything. It's very basic, very, very not super geared towards alternatives, I guess. Non-logical systems of thought. Maybe that's a better word. And so, because they're not, no amount of predictive analysis or algorithm will ever be sufficient and 100% accurate, or even close to 100% accurate.
Oh, no, they won't be. But with that said, in poli-sci, in the same way you do with industrial and organizational psychology, if you can come up with a predictive model that's 80%, you're fucking winning. Like, that's huge. 80% prediction, that's fucking massive. And so, and there's industrial and organizational IO psychology theories that score in the low 80s, like 82, 83% predictive success. Like, that's fucking amazing for human beings, considering, like you said, the human factors are fucking crazy. As soon as you involve human beings, it feels like, oh, rational choice theory. You'll love this one. You remember rational choice theory inside of psychology? Did you ever spread over into that?
No, but I can probably.
It's just like, well, human beings make rational decisions, and it's like it's got internal consistency, but does it have external validity? And it's like, well, no, because there's all kinds of times that people make irrational decisions, and then people can.
And then, what is a rational decision? Based off of what factors are we ascribing rationality to any decision?
They came up with it. Well, they explain they to keep it going. Mm-hmm. I think. That's bounded rationality. It's limited constraints upon somebody's breadth of knowledge and awareness of available activities. Therefore, their rationality is bounded by a number of factors. So why does the person smoke a cigarette if you have self-preservation and you know that a cigarette is damaging to your health? Why are you going to smoke the cigarette? That's an irrational act. And the answer is no, actually, it's a very rational act, because they're bounded by the need for nicotine. So therefore, in their calculation, it's extremely rational to smoke the cigarette and satiate their need for nicotine, i.e. that was a rational choice. But on that basis, everything becomes rational. And the example that everybody loves to give, and it's a good one, is I'm feeling suicidal. I'm feeling great pain. Yes, it goes against my self-preservation, go jump off of a cliff, but within my bounded rational system, to bring a sudden and quick end to the pain by jumping off this cliff is a rational act. So a completely irrational, emotion-based, rash action becomes completely rational within this system. And it's like, what that makes the system worthless.
Yeah, it does. But then the system was never adequate to begin with. But the thing that you have to understand, right, is you have to accept that
it is.
Huh?
When you have to go that far with it, it demonstrates the inherent flaws within the system, which is why I abandoned rational choice theory for institutional understanding and went with sociological institutionalism instead. Historical institutional is where it's at, kids.
And I'm sure in the next 20 years, empirical study will show that is also faulty itself.
Actually, historical institutionalism has been going strong for decades and doesn't seem to. It doesn't show any signs of slowing down, and it makes limited descriptive and predictive claims, which is what attracted me to it so much.
So, Polly, can you explain for the people in the chat what exactly historical predictive models means for those who are uneducated?
An institution for the purposes of institutionalism is a social program designed to impart values to its members who have a shared worldview. The organizational culture is the shared worldview, and the institution is a social program that imparts values to its members, be it hierarchical values. You are subordinate to so-and-so, you are in charge of so-and-so, this is our mission, goal, etc. That's the operational definition of institution in this case. The idea being is that after an institution forms, the longer it exists, the more recalcitrant in its position it becomes, and the less likely varying options are to be accepted. Sound familiar? And I remember describing this stuff to some people, and they're like, this is just a way of formalizing what people commonly understand to be the case within institutions. And I'm like, yes, and what's wrong with formalizing common sense?
Now, can you use it in a sentence?
Didn't I just do so?
No. Like, it was the joke. That was part of the joke. Polly, I was making funny.
What's wrong with formalizing common sense? Now, can you use it in a sentence?
No. The system of study that you were just describing.
Historical institutionalism?
Fuck.
See,
that's why I can't say it. Can you use it in a sentence? 4 beers in.
Oh, God. When I came here, you had 28 viewers. I've cost you 8 viewers by yammering. Oh, shit.
Actually, I think you brought the party up. We had a whole 16 before you were here. And then at the start of your entrance, we had 28, and now we're at 20. So we've evened out, which is good.
Oh, it's a 22. Yay, more people are coming. Can I point out something?
What?
Weebo Jones has failed to comment, notice, reference, appreciate my new avatar.
We were talking about other things, but yes, now that you mention it, the shadows do look in place.
Notice the critique was not one of like the 6 or 7 things that I listed there. You don't like the adorable noir otter? You can't just say, oh, he looks cute or something.
Are the pinstripes accurate to period?
Again, where are you getting this? No one asked you to critique. Far knows what I'm talking about here. Why is it that when some people have something placed in front of them, they think it's a trivia contest to spot the fucking errors as quickly as possible?
Well, Polly, what you have to understand is that that is me. That is who I am. But no, I was just actually, in this case, I'm just messing with you. I hope you can understand that.
I am pretty proud of that, of the noir otter. I dig him.
Fargo's, I made that suit.
She did.
And it's beautiful. I'm just taking the piss.
Notice that? You see the female solidarity here? With me, it's all criticism. She finds out Far did part of it, and she's like, oh, it's beautiful. Now she's offering value opinions.
Yeah, she does wonderfully. She's always perfect in everything that she does for me. Or for you. No, I'm only asking if the pinstripes are period accurate because I just got done watching Bernadette Banner, which I think, Polly, you might actually enjoy a great deal. So I'm about to shill another YouTuber who absolutely does not need my endorsement, but is getting it anyway. So she does videos about like period clothing, specifically circulating around, I guess, the Victorian Edwardian era, England up to, and I think including, like, is it 19th century if I'm talking about the 1900s, or is it 20th century if I'm talking about the 1900s?
It's the 20th century if you're talking about the 1900s.
Up to the 20th, up to including the early 20th century. So she specializes specifically. She's a seamstress and a costume artist, specifically focusing on those time periods in that aspect of the world, because if you know anything about costumes, you know that different time periods don't necessarily mean uniform styles per culture. You'll know this if you look anything at anything that has to do with anything in the East, specifically. But she is really good because she's all about the historical accuracy. And I just got done watching a video about historically and period correct clothing with the most recent 2020 releases of like period dramas. When I say period, I don't mean bloody excess shenanigans that women expel from their loins once a month. I mean time period.
What? Oh, okay.
And she hand stitches everything. Yes, Far. Thank you. The YouTuber that inspired me drawing characters in old-timey underwear. We're gonna talk later, Far. Don't worry. We're gonna talk. Maybe not tonight, but at a certain point we're gonna talk. But yeah, so she specializes in this, and this is her area, and she does YouTube videos on this, and it is always so it makes me want to be a better everything, whatever it is that I am doing. Like if I'm character designing, if I am costume altering, if I am
I thought you
writing
meant like be a better friend by not being overly critical of artistic things when there was no reason.
No.
Not that.
I am being a good friend, Polly. I am being a good friend by being critical, by not letting you share with people your abominations.
Nice.
And yes, she hand stitches everything because she prefers that. Because machine stitching has a way about it, a certain look. It's not period accurate, if you catch my drift. Because obviously sewing machines weren't invented until, well, not well after, but like later into her time period of expertise. But yeah, she doesn't just act like specialize in this area, but she produces in this time period, and it's actually quite fascinating. So I think, Polly, you with all of your analness towards detail, I think you would enjoy her channel. Bernadette Banner, that's the channel name. Daniel Fullman. But yeah, she has like the utmost attention to detail when it comes to her products, I guess you could say. And it's quite fascinating, I will say. The history of fashion is one of those things that you don't appreciate being there until you've actually delved into it. And it's only fascinating from a female perspective too, because female fashion, for the most part, is the one that changes the most. Male fashion is kind of, well, not standard or static, but it doesn't fluctuate nearly as much as female fashion does. Yes, thank you, Far, for including her link. I appreciate it. And now that we've properly shilled, Polly, do you have any commentary?
No, I haven't seen the channel, but it does sound interesting.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. She's got a really nice video about so you know how clothing or costume manufacturers just kind of produce the most obnoxious knockoffs of the things that they want to kind of somewhat embody?
Yeah.
So like you'll get a Renaissance costume that has a completely inaccurate bust design, or dress basting. These are terms that I learned when I was working in a costume shop. Or they have inaccuracies that look like they could be time period accurate, but actually are not for the actual time period. What is going on? You just changed your avatar.
There you go. Much more straightforward.
Anyway, so you get these manufacturers that just kind of take things and knock them off to the lowest tier quality. Like, not only do they not take any seriousness regarding like the style, but the fabric itself is just bottom tier polyester bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Falls off, it's velcroed together and stitched at what, like 3/4 of an inch. Atrocious. We do not stand. But they also rip things off of actual like handmade Etsy designers. Well, they actually did this one dress, a knockoff off of her own design, and they sold it with her picture to people. And they presented some obnoxious polyester abomination. Really? And she did an entire roast off of the knockoff. She bought the knockoff, went out of her way to purchase the knockoff, and compared it to the original dress that she had produced in a video. And I think that's probably why we stand. Yes, Far has seen this video. She can attest to the fact that it is an absolutely bomb-ass video. Because it's not every day that you get to roast the fuck out of someone who knocks off your art. Because that's what it is, right? Like, how often do you come across someone who takes your... Oh, this is not a good example, but your avatars and goes, I'm going to sell a bottom tier bullshit version of it, but they won't know until they get it in the mail. And that's something I absolutely hate, too. Is getting something that you paid for that you didn't pay for. It's happened before. I actually had to return like 8 things this Christmas because Amazon promised me one thing and I did not get, or I did not get delivered the thing that I was promised.
You got something that was wildly different, or it was like damaged in some kind of way?
So I got both wildly different. So something that was not the color that I was promised. It was supposed to be a pastel pink, and it turned out to be like this god-awful bubblegum pink. But then in addition to that, I got something that was never delivered. So it was supposed to be delivered in October, and it only just put in, like, I have not gotten it still. But I only yesterday put in the refund request for the thing. And I had to physically do it because I hadn't gotten it. And if I hadn't done it, they would have never refunded it to me. But one of the retailers that went, oh, yeah, it was damaged in transit, and it's the only one we have, so we can't send it to you. And I'm like, well, then why the fuck didn't I get the refund when you immediately found out that this was the case? Anyway, so I have some bones to pick with Amazon. Just a little bit. But that's what you get when you order shit from China, I guess.
Yes. Never
again. And you know what?
You're never ordering anything from China again? Good luck.
Yeah. Right? No, actually, one of those things, and it's glad that it didn't ever arrive, and certainly didn't arrive within a timely fashion, because one of those things, and this is going to be super sad and unfortunate, but one of those things was a camera color, a pet color with a camera attached to it that was meant to go around Cole's neck so that I could like see what he was doing outside when he went outside. And it's kind of a blessing that I never got it. And then I'm getting a refund for it because I wouldn't have been able to really use it. Right?
Yeah.
Big oof. Big oof. But yeah, there goes that entertaining aspect, future content for the channel in more ways than one.
I've thought about RFID tagging the rabbits in my area just to see where they go. I'm curious.
Do it.
How far do they get? How big is their area that they graze over, whatever you call? Well, I mean, trapping them wouldn't be the hard part. It'd be getting the RFID tags. I don't even know what's available in terms of that. Like, if you want to track somebody, like GPS style, what's the smallest tag that you can get a hold of to do that? I have no idea. I'd have to look into it.
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Yeah, Dr. Kiev, what happened to Polly's avatar? Apparently, I was too critical, and Polly decided that I only get graced with the shitty ones now.
She literally called it an abomination. I guess I was too critical. Like,
did not.
You realize you were live streaming when you said it, right?
Did I really?
Yeah. Just it's like the evidence isn't available.
Oops. My bad.
Speaking of Amazon things, my 6 terabyte external hard drive arrived today. Yay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got not that I had the money for it. I just had the Amazon gift cards for it. So from Christmas. So I went and bought it, and goddamn am I in need. This is it right here. Tapping away. Haven't plugged it in or got it all set up yet, but yeah.
Nice. Go Polly. We're proud. And when are you getting the potato replaced?
Soon enough.
Yeah.
Right around the corner. Unfortunately, I don't have enough Amazon gift cards for that.
Rough. Are you gonna buy it piece by piece, or are you gonna buy a whole system, or?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. The cheapest way that I know to do it would be to buy used, but then all of my computer nerd friends online and IRL for that matter are like, don't do that. You're just inheriting somebody else's problems. Don't buy used. Like somebody's old gaming computer that they upgraded to a new gaming computer. And so they just put the thing on like classifieds online. And they're like, here's all the stats from this computer and there's nothing wrong with it. I just totally bought a brand new computer because there's people like Hammer and Zelthor and Platy and such that enjoy building computers. They enjoy putting it all together. So they just, trash the whole thing. They don't even keep the tower in the power supply because, Oh, and Weebo.
Hi. Yes. Hello. How are we?
And Weebo, of course, building computers. Everybody loves to do that. So
it's a good time, honestly.
You know what I've discovered in my time researching? Well, it's not research. Looking into the basics of building a computer. People that like to build computers talk about thermal paste the way that people that are into guns talk about trigger resets. In other words, a thing that is discussed constantly all the time by people that are really into it that probably at the end of the day doesn't really mean that much.
Polly. That's not.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's sacrilegious. I know. It's just
your thermal paste is supposed to be replaced at least once every year.
Ah.
And you have to clean it off completely first before you replace it.
Didn't even know that. I heard just don't use too much, and people endlessly talk about.
Do you not understand the importance of thermal paste?
No, I get it. And listen, resets on triggers are important too, but the amount of talk that people have about them, you'd think it was the beginning and end of the entire subject. But
because everyone forgets about I don't know about trigger resets, but thermal paste, everyone forgets about it. Like, you're replacing your motherboard. The last thing that you think to buy is replacement thermal paste because you're like, oh, I'll just buy the replacement motherboard, or I'll just buy, if you're replacing the processor, I'll just buy a replacement processor. It's fine. And then you're like, you go to replace your motherboard or your processor because those two things connect directly, right? But the thing that goes in between either of those is the thermal paste. And if you forget the thermal paste, not only can you not put it back together because you would have had to have cleaned it off and it wouldn't have been, you could probably put it back together, but it wouldn't be as good. But you can't put it back together to use it before you apply new thermal paste, and you probably can't replace any of the parts either afterwards, or you definitely can't. You could probably use it.
Fair enough. I'm not saying don't use it. All right. I don't think anybody nuke the CCP, is it? But I like my trigger resets in thermal paste. Well, you know what? I like my trigger resets too. You know what I went and did? So I got my SIG here, my SIG 227. And if you listen how short the reset is on this. There we go. Hear that little extra click? And that's because I went and bought the short reset trigger kit for it. But then I stopped talking about it because Jesus Christ, how long are you going to talk about it? I think that they're important in short resets and there's another thing. People talk about, it's an audible reset. Dude, when you don't have hearing protection on and you're firing a gun in a life or death situation, you're not going to hear your trigger resetting. Why do people keep talking about audible trigger resets?
I didn't even know that this was a talking point. I just know what I know. And what I know is that thermal paste is imperative.
Well, no, I think it is important. But the thing that I encounter the most is not whether or not to put it on, the thermal paste. It's because people are just, I've never heard anyone say not put it on. It's always how much and in what way. And to the point where I've heard people that are computer nerds joking about this. I was watching Razorfist Arcade and somebody asked about thermal paste or whatever. And Razorfist says, you know how much thermal paste to put on underneath your CPU? And Terangel, his streaming partner, goes, the right amount. He goes, that's right. The right amount. And they move the hell on.
So Zombie Teddy actually asked, what is thermal paste? And thermal paste is basically that thing that goes in between the processor and not the processor and the motherboard, but it goes between the processor and the cooling system that sits right on top of the processor. It prevents overheating because your processor is doing a lot of fucking calculations and your cooling system is doing an awful lot to prevent that thing from overheating, and it needs a little bit of help. So the thermal paste acts to prevent that from overheating and shutting down. Now, if you don't have the thermal paste, technically you can still use the computer, but it's going to be massively inconvenient for you, and you will probably experience some shutdown quite frequently.
Well, I was watching LGR, Lazy Game Reviews. Great channel if you haven't checked it out. Pretty straightforward material, but he's a tech nerd. He's fun to watch. He makes good content. Anyway, he's building a new workstation computer, and that's exclusively what it was for. It wasn't for gaming or anything else. It was just, a hell of a lot of RAM, incredibly fast multi-threaded processor that he spent a fuck ton of money on after he got his tax return, specifically so he could render videos out faster because he feels the need to make everything in 2160p at 60 frames a second.
Naturally.
Because he's a performance hound. You know what I mean? When it came to the part in the video when he was building, so he orders all the parts and he goes, okay, now let's put this thing together. And it was kind of a montage. And when it came to the thermal paste, he goes, so here's the thermal paste I use. And now I'm going to show you exactly how to put it on. And he puts his hand in front of the camera when he's squirting the fucking the thermal paste because he knows the kind of fight to the death arguments that people want to die on top of that particular hill over for some fucking reason. It's just
I mean, I don't care what kind you use, just make sure that you use it. Nuke the PC says thermal paste improves surface contact for heat transfer. It is not, in fact, magic duct tape because it doesn't actually hold the thing together, but it ensures that there is no overheating.
I mean, am I not this is my noob understanding of the entire concept. So you have CPU running its processes, it generates a lot of heat. Computers like to be cool. Yes. So you put a heat sink on top of the CPU. Yes. And to facilitate the heat transfer from the CPU to the heat sink, you put on something called thermal paste that allows for that heat to conduct. And that's it, right?
Yes.
So why y'all spend countless thousands of hours arguing? Well, not y'all, you, but y'all in a global sense.
I guess it's kind of I'm trying to find an accurate analogy, but it does what it needs to do, kind of in the same way that Batman has a sidekick that does what it needs to do, and the argument is really inconsequential as to which is the best. So which is the best thermal paste is inconsequential, same as which Robin is the best is inconsequential. Now, if you really want to get into it, which character is the best, it's obviously Dick Grayson, because we stand Dick Grayson on this channel. But
see,
it serves the purpose.
This is how Weebo shows that she's been 4 drinks deep. It's Carrie Kelly is the best Robin.
Get the fuck out of my bar.
You can like Dick Grayson all you want. I'm not saying don't like Dick Grayson, but
you don't like Robin. You like a pair of tits. Right? Because that's the female Robin, is it not?
You like a pair of firm buttocks, and you've already said that. So
you can't prove that. I'd like to see that sound like. All right, you mind if we only go another 5 minutes? Because one,
no, that's
I gotta use a little girl's room, and 2, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, that's fine.
Excellent. All right, so for the last 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, we will take some questions, but also at some point, within the next 4 minutes, we will have to do the closeout. So, be swift. Everyone's always like, Damian Wayne is a superior Robin. I see you, Nacho Damas the Great, and I disagree. You fuck off with that Damian love.
Carrie Kelly, best Robin.
I disagree because no one ever knows. No one knows who Carrie Kelly is. No one gives a shit.
Oh yeah, and everybody's all up on the Nightwing. Let me tell you something. Zombie Teddy asked, "Did you lose all your avatars in the face of Weebo's overly harsh, infernal criticism?" Yes, I did. Dick Grayson was merely a ward of Bruce Wayne.
Look at this. Look at this. This is who you stand. Those are the little boy.
Oh, come on. That's from the animated Dark Knight Returns. What do you want?
All right. That one?
Oh,
That's
God. That was from the... Yeah, right. Pick the worst art you can. Now go find us an ultra firm buttocks Dick Grayson to point out.
I'm not talking about you, you asshole. Oh, boyfriend thinks I'm talking about him. Look at this midget.
Midget. Well, it's because Bruce Wayne's fucking huge. He's not a midget. He's 6'5". Like, shit.
All right. Now let's compare. Dick sizes. But look at that, luscious. Yeet. That is my Robin. # my Robin. Yeehaw. You can't really see that. There's we're just gonna skip past all of the Barbara Gordon bullshit.
See, there's your Dick Grayson.
There's Dick Grayson, and there's
femboy shorts.
There's your Carrie Kelly. Like, do you see?
Okay, hold on. You're pissing me off now.
No, you.
No, you.
All right, how about this? This is better.
That is the original costume that she... Okay, you know what? Where did she get her costume from? She made it. You know why? Because she decided she wanted to be Robin. She went out there and forced herself into the role of being Batman's sidekick. Dick Grayson was just like, hey, yo, like not even Jason Todd. At least Jason Todd was brought into it. Dick Grayson was just Batman's ward and said, hey, we're going to go do this. And Dick was like, yeah, okay.
Listen, who originated the concept of the Robin persona, I guess you could say? Was it not the Dick Grayson who originated this concept? Everyone else after Dick Grayson is just simply a copycat, but Dick Grayson is the OG, bitch.
You can call him the OG if you want. What's really going on there is that Carrie Kelly decided to be Robin. She's a woman in full possession of herself. Dick Grayson is just doing what he's told.
Quite literally, he decided to be the Robin, as in he is OG. So he decided who Robin was. All right, no one else did. They're all just taking up that mantle, but he decided that this would be the sidekick's name, this would be his outfit, etc., 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 and therefore we stand in this household. Precisely, Zombie Teddy. Why isn't she wearing pants?
Why isn't Dick Grayson isn't wearing pants neither?
You can't tell.
See on her there.
Show me. I have control of the mouse. Damn it. Actually, hang on. Look, he's wearing pants here. But also, here, even though he's not wearing pants, he wears the non-pants very well, I must say. Whereas Carrie Kelly does not. Well, not well.
But Carrie Kelly, being a Frank Miller creation, ended up. I mean, there's one version of it. There's some fan art. Here's Frank Miller after he's like, look at this dirt.
Is this?
See, look at Carrie Kelly in her final form. Tell me she doesn't look awesome.
Oh, are you showing me something here?
Yes, I am.
I guess. Maybe.
There she is. It's like she doesn't want to be the sidekick anymore. And he's like, you changed your costume. Yeah, no offense. It's just the bright colors. My tastes run darker. And it's Batwoman. Okay. He's like, of course. because Bruce, actually listens to her because she's a smart, intelligent woman who has her own. Dick Grayson's just like, Dick, run over there and do this thing, and he's like, yes, sir. In their odd pederasty relationship. No,
Polly, I've been told by Evolved Potato that you should check your money hole.
Oh, should I? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, my money hole.
Sure. Yes. Please do.
Evolved Potato, thank you very much for the donation. Jason Todd is best. That's science. Anyone who disagrees with it is a science denier. Fact. Well, I do like Jason Todd.
Jason Todd died, so he's no longer in the running. We only accept living Robins.
He.
You know what? Actually, that would be a fantastic video to do. A collab is who's the best Robin, and we all bring our arguments to the table. Do you know anyone who is in a Damian Wayne, a Jason Todd, and et cetera, other
actually,
Robin?
That would make a great video short. I would 100% be down for this because I'm going to argue Gary Kelly. You're going to argue Dick Grayson. I wonder where Jack and Quiz come out on this because I think Quiz is full on Jason Todd, and I think Jack might be as well. As for the Damian Wayne fan, where are you going to find someone who likes an obnoxious emo kid?
Literally half the chat was standing.
I know.
And, I disown all of them. I disavow. All right, and on that note, with me just completely alienating all of my audience, guys, thank you so much for joining us this fine evening. I hope you enjoyed yourself. This turned out to be a whole 2 hours as opposed to the 1 hour that I thought it was going to be. But thank you to Polly for showing up. There we go. We deeply appreciate your presence here on Weebo Jones Productions.
You know why I showed up when I did?
Yeah.
I was just straight up an hour late.
Yeah, it's okay.
Because I was looking at the clock and I'm thinking, I got time. I'm only a few minutes late, et cetera, et cetera. I was way wrong. I was just calculating the times incorrectly. You didn't even allow chat time to ask questions. It's just terrible the way you treat your chat.
It's okay. They're all Damian Wayne stands, so they can suffer in silence. I do have to pee, though, so we gotta wrap this up. I gotta break the seal.
All right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. We'll be here same time, same place, same honor, same face next week. Thank you to all those who liked, shared, subscribed, commented, and tipped your lovely co-hosts. And I am not sharing that picture, Polly. You can't make me.
No, you want to. You want to.
No,
don't be afraid of the picture.
No, I see you zooming in on it, and I know exactly which picture it is, and it's not happening.
No, do it. You want it. You want it done.
I don't want it. No. I have to. I fear I have to. I hate it. I hate everything. All right, go away. Bye-bye. And we'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Hasta la vista.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.